Hello students, welcome back. In the last session, we have discussed glass box testing technique. In today's session, we will discuss black box testing. Black box testing is a testing technique which is based on exploring paths through the specification. So let's start with black box testing. Black box testing is a software testing method in which the functionalities of software applications are tested without having knowledge of internal code structure, implementation details, and internal parts. In case of black box testing, the tester may not have the knowledge of internal code structure, implementation, or internal parts. So black box testing, it is mainly based on the functionality of a software. Black box tests are constructed without looking at the code to be tested. Unlike the white box testing, where the test cases are constructed by looking at the code in the software, in black box testing, the tests are constructed without looking at the code to be tested. Black box testing allows testers and implementers to be drawn from separate populations. In white box testing, the tester and implementer should be the same because the tester should have the knowledge of code to be tested. But in case of black box testing, tester should not have the knowledge of internal code, and that is the reason the tester and implementer can be drawn from a separate population in case of black box testing. Both of them can be different. A developer may develop the code and the tester may test it separately. Developers of commercial software often have quality assurance groups that are largely independent of development groups. In commercial software development, they have a separate group of people to test the software, and they call it as quality assurance group that are largely independent of the development groups. If you look at the diagram here, which explains the black box testing, where tester only concentrates on the input or set of inputs and the output which is generated by the code, whereas the internal structure of the code to be tested, it is not known to the tester, and that is why it is called as black box testing. The internal details are not known. Okay, how to do black box testing? Executed in the next step. Then the software tester compares the actual output. Now when the test cases are executed, the output which is generated, that is called as the actual output, with the expected output which the tester has already determined in the previous step, the expected output. So the actual output is compared with the expected output. If actual output and expected output are same, then it means the test is successful or test has been passed. Otherwise, if actual output and the expected output are not same, that means there is some problem in the code, and if there is any problem in the code, that needs to be fixed and retested. tested. So defects, if there are any defects, if any, are fixed in the next step and it is retested. So if there are any defects, those defects are fixed, and again the system under test is retested. So this is how black box testing is carried out. Okay, there are different types of black box testing. There are many types of black box testings, but the following are some prominent ones. These are functional testing, non-functional testing, and regression testing. Functional testing, this is black box testing type, is related to the functional requirements of the system. Now, this functional testing, it is used to test the functional requirement of the system. The system, it checks whether the system works as per the functional requirements given by the client or customer, and it is done by the software tester. Functional testing, it is done by the testers. Then we have non-functional testing. So this type of black box testing, it is not related to testing specific functionality of the system, but non-functional requirements such as performance, scalability, usability. So these things are tested in non-functional testing. So non-functional requirements are not directly related to the functionality of the system. So these things are tested in non-functional testing. We have regression testing. Regression testing is done after code fixes, upgrades, or any other system maintenance to check the new code has not affected the existing code. So regression testing, it is usually done after code fixes, if we have done any modification in the previous code. So after those modifications, the regression testing is done, or even regression testing is done after upgrades in the software. So if we have upgraded our software and after those upgrades the regression testing is performed, or even it is performed after some maintenance work which is carried on the software, and this is usually done to check the new code which has been included in the software does not affect the existing code which is there in the software. So that is regression testing. So these are few prominent types of black box testing techniques.